We are very happy to be here among you for this first edition of Explore DDD.
Yeah.
Maybe we start with one question. Did you already experience some difficulties to grasp some of the DDD concepts? And when you will have to code, did you still feel that those difficulties? Yeah, okay. So we are not alone.
Yeah, I have to confess, when I discovered DDD, I see a lot of very good talk, a lot of concepts. But as developer, when I try to implement them, sometime on legacy code, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, the reason why you would like to do a mix between live coding,
yes,
legacy?
Yes, absolutely. Last winter, I called you to prepare something based on the live coding in Paris. And the intent was to explain that.
So we will do a lot of live code, a very few slides. As a disclaimer, it will be most likely a tactical pattern and stuff like that, but we will talk a lot about the domain. So we will show code, talking a lot about the domains. And there will be a little bit of strategic patterns involved, but you will see. Okay, first things first, let's introduce ourselves.
Yes. So I'm Bruno Boucard. I'm living in Paris. My job is to be a technical coach. I teach TDD, DDD, refactoring, and DDD.
Okay, my name is Pierrain. I'm co-organizer of the DDD meetup in Paris. I'm kind of obsessed by use cases, you know, versus the solution-first approach that I'm seeing a lot around me. Basically, I would say that I'm a CRUD application killer, something like that. Okay, we have some gifts for you. So Alex is still here. He will be the referee.
Yeah.
And 2 books to win.
Yes, there is 2 references to Bible. The first one is Eric's one about DDD. And the second one is the favorite for me about refactoring from Martin Fowler.
So to win those books, you will have to tweet as hell during our session. Take picture, quotes, whatever, jokes. And at the end of the session, Alex will say to us who has been winning those 2 books. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay for everyone? So don't follow the EDDD hashtag for that. Okay, our domain for today will be train. Train is kind of wide. There are lots of context, lots of things related to that. So we'll focus a little bit more on seat reservations. So here we have a model of a train with 3 coaches, A, B, C. There are some seats in yellow already reserved here, and we have some seats in blue that we would like to reserve. So basically our service will allow end users to reserve seats in a given train. We will have 2 business rules. Unfortunately, our domain expert wasn't able to come with us to Denver.
He's still in Paris.
Still in Paris, so we will be the kind of proxy for him. So first rule, we should not reserve more than 70% of a train overall train capacity. All right? And the second one is all seats provided within the same reservation should belong to the same coach. We don't want to split families. We don't want to split friends when they travel. All right? Those rules are extracted from the Emily Bash Kata train reservation that we used to start with our legacy mess, as you will see. Some words from our domain expert. He's still not here, but we talk a lot with him about train. Talks about train ID, seats, coaches. A concept very important for him was reservation attempt. We'll see why in a few seconds. And whether or not a reservation attempt is fulfilled.
To book, booking reference, we will see, reference, and reference failure.
Reservation, yeah. There is a difference between a reservation attempt and a reservation. We will see that also. Okay. There are many bounded contexts involved in our context here, in our case. We will work for the Train startup. It's a startup company that has been the web API, allowing end users to reserve seats within train. All right? So it will be our main bounded context, seat reservation. To do so, we'll need some extra services, external services provided by the national train operator in France, which is SNCF, which has opened the market recently. So here as Train in yellow, we are one among other startups trying to provide a nice end-user experience to reserve seats. But on the right side, you will need some external service. The first one is train data. Basically, it will provide us some train topology. That means that for a given train ID, we will retrieve the number of coach for the train and the number of seats, and for every seat, whether or not they are reserved or available. Okay? Okay for you? Second one is the booking reference. This is not a service that we need to call to book, but it's a kind of first step. It's a prerequisite. This service just provides us a booking reference ID, unique identifier for the national train operator service to make it work. We still don't know why they are being split between the booking reference and the train booking, which actually do the job. Maybe it's Conway's law, maybe, but this is on their side. From mapping, context mapping perspective, we are downstream from those contexts, meaning that they can change everything they want. We will be impacted. So
Thomas, sorry to interrupt. Could you please just explain why, like booking reference and booking, train booking, those two different boundaries?
We don't know. Actually, it's like that. So we suppose that it's maybe Conway's law. It is a very big company, the national train operator in France. So we don't know. We depend from those external services to make the reservation happen. So basically, we have a request from our end user on the left from the yellow, and then we had to get some train topology. Then if we found available seats, we get a booking reference unique ID, and then at the end of the day, the transaction is really achieved through the train booking external service. So within our code, we will only work on the yellow part, but interact with external stuff. Okay, maybe we can start with a demo, Bruno?
Yeah.
So it's a web API, so you need to make some HTTP requests.
Yes. Okay. We don't know have you precise the yellow is actually a web API?
Absolutely.
Okay. So to test this web API, we will use Postman, and we will make a request. I will try to show you. So this is the post. Oh, you don't see the body. Wait a second to see. Okay, perfect.
So it's a post HTTP verb.
Yeah. So you see the request, and you see the payload. Inside the payload, we have two fields. The first is a train ID. The second one is the number of seats. Actually, we request to reserve 4 seats. That is the intent.
So our web API entry point is very simple. One
Yeah.
train ID and number of seats I want to reserve in it. So let's post. Yeah, you get the answer on the
Yeah, I
bottom.
get an answer.
How does it look?
Yeah, I try to show. Okay. There is the train ID. We're talking a lot about the booking reference. You allocate an ID to make a reservation, and we get the seat.
So here, 4 seats in the coach A from 5 to 8. Okay for everyone? Not so complicated so far. Let's switch. Why are we here? In fact, we are here because the Train startup has a problem. They are facing recurrent penalties from the national train operator service, and they don't understand why. They have the feeling that they pay extra fees, but they don't know why. For that, maybe we can focus on one thing. Every time we call external services from the national train operator in gray on the right side, we pay fees. That's normal. Train was aware of that, but they don't understand why they are paying too much. So we are here to help them to investigate and to try to find out why and how can we fix that if it's possible. But it's a legacy. We said it's a legacy application. We just discovered the code this morning.
Yeah, we make a testnet, a safety net, and we see something, we will discover together. And if you don't like to live dangerously, you have to.
Yeah, before touching any legacy code, we don't like to touch any legacy code without test harness. So we have built one this morning. We'll see. We have been actually 3 tests.
Yeah.
Let's describe what they are about.
Yeah, the first one is really unrealistic. It's a train with 1 coach.
Tiny train.
Yeah. And we asked to reserve 3 seats, and we obtained a reservation in blue. And the answer is clearly totally similar with the demo. So the first field is the train ID. We get a booking reference, and finally we get the list of the seats.
This is the first acceptance test.
Yeah.
Second one.
So the second one is based on business rules. Maybe we can remind.
Yeah, you should not reserve more than 70% of a given train.
Yes, and in our configuration is still 1 coach, but you can notice we have 6 seats already reserved.
Yeah, it's a train of 10 seats, meaning that we are not allowed to reserve more than 7 seats. And since we have 2, it's failing. So
yeah.
The failure looks like we got the train ID we provide.
Yeah,
empty.
and the reference ID is empty, and the list is empty. It's a way to describe a reservation failure in the system.
Yeah, this is how Train is doing so far. Third test, interesting. We intended to highlight the second business rule that was all seats in a given reservation should be provided in the same coach. So here we wrote a test asking to reserve 2 seats in that train. So 2 coaches this time. And this is the answer we get. We got 1 seat in coach A and the other in coach B. Completely unacceptable. Let's imagine you want to reserve 2 seats for you and your friend. You don't want to be split into 2 different coaches. Actually, it may explain maybe the extra fees. Let's have a project. Let's imagine you reserve 2 seats for you and your friends. You've got this answer. Not acceptable. I want to travel aside with my friend, so I cancel. I restart. I retry. Again, cancel, retry. Maybe I did very few sessions like that. And at the end of the day, if we look at the diagram here, you can say that from a train perspective, every attempt will be charged. This is like they are started with the national.
Yeah. We are charged per call.
So they may explain why they are charged so much. Since there is a bug in their algorithm and people are canceling too much their reservation, that may explain the... So let's fix that bug. Are you ready to help us to fix that bug?
Yeah.
Yeah? Cool, thanks. So if you are ready, what would you recommend as a starting point? First step.
First, reduce the number of bounded contexts, like the trend reference and the reservation. Those 2 look similar, but why those 2 are different, I have no clue.
Reduce the number of bounded contexts. Actually, we have only 1 in our field, and the other are external dependencies. We don't have pressure. You don't have a way to change that.
It's not our company.
Yeah.
We are a startup, and we try to compete with other startups to provide the best optimization of reservation. Okay?
So, any other ideas?
So in that case, like, when I'm reserving, like, say, the third one, where I should check, like, in 1 coach, whether more than 1 is available, like 2 seats are available. Then, like, separate one, if it is, like, it is not going to work. So I first check whether how many seats are available in 1 particular coach. If it is less than what I am actually trying to reserve, then look for the other coach.
Okay, that's an attempt.
Yeah.
Basically, we were more thinking of what would be the first step. Should we start with a test to read some code, to discuss with the business? Well, actually, we have started to discuss a lot with the business first. And then, since we don't want to refactor any legacy code without a safety net, we have built those 3 acceptance tests.
Yeah.
So, as you guys, let's dive into the code.
How do you even get back that you were in 2 different coaches from the result, data structure that you got before? You got a train, a
Yeah, yeah.
The result is here.
Yeah, it's a convention. The first coach is always the A.
It's the letter is the
It's the name of the coach. Yes.
I see now.
Okay.
Okay? No, you're welcome. There is no silly question. Absolutely. So let's dive into the code.
Yeah. So, as we said, we make a safety net this morning. We see, okay.
Yeah. So maybe you can just to find the entry point of the application to set a breakpoint
Yeah, it's already there.
and to run it into debug mode and to see how it goes when you
Okay,
post.
okay.
So here Bruno is making the exact same post.
Yes, we are actually in a controller. It's not dedicated about ASP.NET. It's a Microsoft technology. But we see there is a class called Web Ticket Manager. And this one have a function with exactly the same information we saw in the demonstration, train ID and number of seats.
So basically, the entry point of our web API is a web ticket manager type, which has a reserve method. And the technical framework we are using for the web API is providing us the equivalent of the JSON reservation request DTO. Can you go to the implementation just? It's basically, you will see it's the same information we have within the JSON Bruno is posting every time. Okay?
Train ID and number of seats.
So starting from that point, we discover that web ticket manager.reserve was the entry point of the application. So that is what we have tested.
Yeah, absolutely. We go back to the test?
Yeah, I talk about acceptance test. Here, the definition we have, it's we don't do any HTTP stuff like that.
Yeah.
We consider the system, the Train web ticket manager as a black box. Then we send some request, we call the reserve method. We stub, we fake every external services in gray from the national train operator, and then we get the answer from the black box web ticket manager, and we assert on that.
Absolutely. So, to obtain a fake for the train data service, there is a specific function using a specific framework. In this case, it's end substitute. There is another one for the booking reference. So we obtain a fake with exactly the same behavior of the real service, and we make an instance of the web ticket manager,
The black box,
and we pass the train.
Those fakes.
Yes, those fakes. After we call, we act the reserve with the train ID and then the number of request count.
So it's 3 in that test. Yeah.
But there was 3 services.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Yes.
Well spot.
Actually, the train data service contains 2 services. Okay. The capabilities to get the topology of the train and the capabilities to book. The both are inside.
They have merged recently those 2 services in one web API facade. So that's why the documentation was about 3 services. And once we discover that, we see that actually they have merged the train topology and the booking. Only the unique identifier service is aside.
So, as usual, when you make a unit test, you have to assert. And in this case, we assert a JSON to verify if we obtain exactly what we're supposed to receive.
You ask 3 seats in an empty train. Maybe you can zoom in the 10 available seats. We have built a helper, train topology generator, which provides us the same result as the external services would have provided to us. This is an empty train of 1 coach, coach A, and 10 available seats. So that's no fancy stuff, very straightforward, meaning that we are using a tool which is named Encrunch, that every time we will change the code, it will build the code, run all the tests, and give us some indication in green or yellow or red if the tests are broken or not.
Yes. The second one, it's exactly what we explained in just 1 minute. It's a case when we ask to reserve, we exceed the capacity of the thread threshold. So we obtain this answer, empty list, no booking reference.
Well, I'll show you the same thing as we were writing into the slide.
And the third is a bug.
So here you can see there is a red arrow on the left side in the margin. When we check that, there is a left arrow. And if we zoom a little bit, this is the error message. Our assertion is failing because we were expecting 1B and 2B from an empty train of 2 coaches with the coach A almost fulfilled. And actually the system returned 10A and 1B. This is, okay, we have been split for this reservation, which is unacceptable. Okay. So, we have seen this test. This is the starting point for our journey.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the Web Ticket Manager, maybe.
Okay. So, return there, and...
Okay, Web Ticket Manager. Okay.
We're still running. Maybe.
You have to stop, yeah.
Okay.
Shift F5.
Okay, maybe.
Okay, let's put into that mode. Okay, so we talk about the reserve method. So if we look at the reserve method, what we should do is to fix the bug. Let's see if we have what we need to fix the bug, okay? Let's have a first review, code review of this method. So first things first is to, okay, the reserve, you provide train ID and a number of seats you want to.
Yes, correct.
Okay? You get a train.
Yeah.
You ask, actually, you call the get train on the train data service here that return a JSON train topology. Then we instantiate a train instance from that JSON topology. Sorry? Yeah, there are lots of crappy stuff. We will yeah, there is bugs and crappy and bad language and missing concept. We will work it out during this session. Once we have a train instance, actually, we can make some kind of test checking that the number of seats already reserved plus the number of seats we want to reserve should be below the get max res. I must assume it should be the 70%. Okay, let's do that after. So first test, meaning that if we have passed that if statement, what we should do is to find the seat to reserve here. Here we are iterating around all seats from the train instance to find what we are. Maybe each is not the. Okay.
Yeah.
I can just change that. It's a seat.
Okay.
If a seat has an empty string booking reference, if a seat has an empty booking reference, it means that it's available. That's how they should do in that web API. Again, we discovered the code this morning, so we are maybe 1 hour more than you, but we'll try to discover on that all together. So once we have found some available seats, they are added into a list declared here, and we get it. We work it out. I don't know why there is for each. It seems useless, but we will see that. Okay. Booking reference. Here we call the second external service, booking reference, to get a booking ref, and the booking ref is used here. Okay. For every available seat we have found, we will assign a booking reference here.
Yeah.
So good so far? Is it okay? Can you follow? And then, last but not least, once we have found the exact number of seats that we have requested, we call the train caching. Okay, we'll see that in
don't know what is it.
Something to do around that. We call a train data service again to book this time. This will be the transaction. This will be the moment where our startup service will ask the external service to confirm and to transact those seats for that train with that booking reference. Okay, then we return the answer, the one we get within the test, acceptance test and at runtime. And this is the case where we couldn't find anything, and we return an empty list of seats.
Absolutely.
Okay, so first thing, It's a 1, 2, 2.5 screen high method. Not a good sign, I would say. This is a lot procedural code. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And if there's something that bothers you, what we have just seen,
do you recognize the domain? Okay.
Well, it bothers me that there's different types of logic being executed in one big method.
Yeah.
And also, I don't see the test for the method that's failing. The test for the rule that's failing. I mean, a check for the rule that's missing.
Okay.
I'm not saying that right.
Okay. We come back at.
Yeah, I++ was there. And I think that is probably causing that bug.
okay?
Isn't there a problem in that the rule wasn't that about coaches, but this is about the train?
You're right. You're right. Absolutely. That's a problem.
Ah, I guess there are many problems. We will see that. But yes, there's an obvious issue for me that there is no trace of coaches in that code. We can't find it. And it's a very important concept of the domain. When we talked with the domain expert, it was obvious for him. Also, we don't have the concept of reservation,
Yeah.
no reservation attempt. And so let's introduce all those concepts.
Yeah.
But I think we need to. Okay, we have made a first overview of the code.
Yeah. So you notice it's red. Red is meaning I can change the code. If I change the code and I break the code, I can understand if I break more or if I don't break. So I need to do something.
What should we do?
Yeah.
I would break the method up and have different tests for the different methods.
Yeah.
Now there is only one method. Actually, it's a reserve. This one.
Yeah, then
So
yeah.
you can't call other.
But
All right, it's not where you have a particular goal. That's right, we're on it.
I will agree. I'll write that to refactor that one like no big giant method into multiple methods.
Yeah.
That could be reusable and like I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
we will do that. But first thing first, before we start to refactor the code, we need to have a test harness. And a test harness should be green. Maybe you can ignore the.
Yes.
the
It's a good behavior. When you have several tests and one is broken, and you need to add something.
you need to refactor before being able to fix the bug. In that case, you can ignore just the failing test, which is highlighting the bug. Then we should see in the code, if you get back to the web ticket manager, it should be green all over the place. You see, reserve method is now green, meaning that if we are doing some silly thing,
Yeah. For example, I will change that.
it's a 10, okay? Because we are distracted, we are happy to be here, and we talk with you and stuff like that. And then, boom, it's
I'm
red.
red.
We have seen, we have break something, so let's roll back and be green again. So this is how a test harness will be useful for us during this session, okay? It's
Sorry?
an Encrunch. It's an add-on. It's an external tool.
Yes, it's not actually the code live of
Of
Visual
Visual
Studio. It's a separate tool.
He just Control Z.
You mean that you had just changed something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Here, I made a mistake. I typed 45.
And he recompile on the fly all the code to see if it works.
We were just looking, though.
Yeah.
You had accidentally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Or if,
Pretended that he accidentally.
yeah. So it's green so far. So from that moment, we are able to refactor the code safely.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Let's do that, Bruno.
Okay. Generally, when you start refactoring, the first pass is to have a safety net. No way, it's mandatory. The second pass is to discover, as we do, and we comment to try to understand roughly how the application works.
In that case, it was pretty simple. So we had a discussion with the domain
Yeah.
expert, but it may be very important to have domain experts.
It's necessary. It's necessary. So
to to discover the code.
The third part is cleaning the deck. Cleaning the deck is not to go to deeper of the function or the call inside the function, just to clean up, to get more confident with the code. You see? So, the first one.
It will be renaming a few silly stuff and stuff like that,
Yeah.
getting rid of useless methods or variables.
Yeah, the first one is available seat. Do you think it's a good place for this variable?
Maybe we can find one usage of it in blue below. So here there is a problem. We have a declaration of the variable at the top of the method, and the usage of that variable is really
below. It's below, always below.
Why would it be annoying? It's because we will do a lot of extract method and move method. We will extract behaviors, we'll create new domain types, we'll move lots of things. So if the declaration of the variable used is far from the usage, when we want to move, we will have a kind of dependency.
Absolutely.
So it will be complicated.
Make it more readable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, also.
So I move it safely,
Close to the usage.
and now it's better. Okay? Second one is count.
Sorry?
You weren't interested in the name, because you were increasing available seats, the reserved seats.
Yeah, we will rename.
Yeah, but I said this phase is to cleaning the deck. I will not modify a lot.
Just to be comfortable with the code, and we embrace it step by step. You will see we will change a lot of things.
Yeah, but not yet. So the second one is a counter, count.
Yeah, okay. What a
So,
name. Count of
count.
what? Here count is interesting because it's only incremented, and it's a for each loop on the
Yeah, the number is equivalent to the available seat count.
available seat is a collection, is a list. So available seat.count is equal to count at the end of the for each.
I can replace this one.
If we are right, you can replace it through available seat.count. It should be still green.
Yeah,
And if it's still green, that is the case, you can get rid of that
absolutely.
useless count.
yeah. I remove this one. It's not
Yes,
necessary. Okay, and remove the first one.
How many of you have seen legacy code with useless variables, useless accumulator, etc., etc.?
Yeah, a lot,
Yeah,
a lot,
okay.
a lot.
So let's cut that.
So this one we will have a look in a few minutes.
There is something that bothers me.
Yeah.
Is it a nice place to have JSON?
No, absolutely not. We finish with the
Okay.
local variable and we go back.
I
Train
mean, JSON is technical, it's
Yeah.
not domain oriented, so okay.
train ins. I suppose the developer want to speak about an instance.
Domain expert didn't understood what train inst or train inst was, so let's
I remove that.
Let's
It's a
use
train. Okay.
the language of the domain.
Okay. Number of reserve. What's this guy?
Where is it used?
It's all. It's still again equivalent of the. We're looping on this counter. We obtain exactly the available seat count.
Again, it's the same for
Yeah,
each loop on the same collection. It looks like a pattern here. Maybe copy and paste has been used in
I
the
don't
project.
know. I will replace it by that.
So
And
did the same trick.
I will remove. Okay.
Okay,
I don't want this one.
cut that.
Yeah, this
We
one.
can get rid
No,
of that.
not this one. Not yet.
Get rid of
this one.
that one. Okay.
Okay, this one. This one is strange because there is a typo error, reserve sets.
No, it should be a set, unless it's a set. Yeah, but a set equal to 0 in C#, no, it's a number of sets here,
Okay,
actually.
it's still looping. But actually,
It's not used.
It's not used.
It's only incremented.
It's a mistake. Okay.
So
We don't care. Okay. I remove that.
I feel better when I cut some code and get rid of code.
Yeah. To be honest, we don't do much modification, but
Yeah.
it's more easier to
So
understand.
You know, maybe you should just turn resharper on, and you won't have all these problems.
Yeah, we have ReSharper actually, but
ReSharper is there. yeah, he's there, he's there. You will see in a few minutes. We'll use a lot of ReSharper. Well,
okay. What do you have below?
yeah.
Again.
Yes, I see.
Remonte. Descends, pardon. Sorry. Scroll down. Scroll
Okay.
down. We, as people, we like symmetries. Don't know for you, but I can see two if statements here. Can you please?
This one.
I've got a first one, which is testing is availability.com not equal to seat requested, and below I've got the inverse. So I don't know. At the end of the day, it's tiring. So let's invert the if, please.
It's ReSharper.
So thanks to ReSharper. And what we are able to do, so since there are nothing in the middle between those two if statements, we can merge the content of the if
Copy paste that.
and
Just
move it into the, since they are equivalent,
yeah.
and you can get rid of the if
I break the
ghost
code.
dog, ghost code.
The code is broken?
No.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You didn't change available seats in any
Yeah, but I have the test, and
Still green. So
Yeah.
if it's still green, the behavior from the external point of view is the same. We didn't break anything. We just changed the internal structure of the code, which is what we want to do at the end of the day. But so far, we don't break the behavior of the black box, which is the web ticket manager.
this one is not used.
Sorry, one question?
Yeah, I think you're not doing that. You can remove the else.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, but it's good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Why is that? Because the margin was in white.
Right,
And
yeah.
white means
we don't cover with our test, and our test cover all the code.
white mean unused code in the context of the test.
I can move the declaration closer to the usage. Okay,
Same
it's
thing,
quite better.
So it's better. Okay.
Yeah, it's better. It's not fantastic, but it's better.
We still have to introduce concept, terms,
Yes.
etc. But before doing that,
Yeah.
I'd like to get rid of the JSON from that. What do you think, Bruno? JSON.
You are curious. Okay. Wow.
Train is an important thing in the domain. So let's see what it has.
It's a
Wow.
beautiful command. JSON is invalid format. Okay.
So it's crappy code. I mean, it's technical stuff in middle of the train domain concept. Let's change that, please, Bruno, because
Maybe we can make some
Yeah.
refactoring
Let's
before.
continue to clean the deck before.
Yeah.
But we need to cut that
Use.
JSON stuff from the domain.
Yes,
please.
I will transform this one in property. Yes, I rename this one.
Okay. So here, Bruno is using a refactoring tool to make it more idiomatic C#. It's a lambda expression body instead of.
This one is white.
Okay.
I will
It's
remove-
white, so we can get rid of that.
There is another class just below, but it's totally white. We never use this one.
So let's delete it.
Yeah, I do a self-delete. Self-delete, look for any reference of this one. Okay?
Okay, let's do. And you
This one is not used. Generally, it's better to put a class in a single file. So I will move this one. Okay?
So we have a train type, which is basically nothing to deal with except JSON parsing.
Yeah.
Very sad, but okay.
Oh, what can we do?
Are you changing the name Loco?
No.
I couldn't read it.
Yeah.
Java developer.
Yeah.
Good point.
Good point. So,
Here, we are in the middle of the train constructor, we have some JSON parsing. Not acceptable. Let's move that elsewhere. Where could we move that?
the good way and the only way to move something, except it's already a function, you have a snippet of code, have a responsibility not compatible with your class, you have to make an extract.
So you will extract that code portion,
Yes, I select.
make it a method
Yeah.
that will stay on the train, and then we will move that method.
Yeah, I have to
Okay.
give a name. So I will take adapt train. What is this a train? It's a train topology.
So you adapt the train topology, which is a JSON,
Yeah,
into a list of seats, basically.
yeah. So, okay, I have a new function locally, but my intent is to move this one. It's not to stay there. So maybe I have some dependencies from this class. I don't want, because I want to move it without any dependencies. So to see the problem, I had an attribute, static.
So here you want to see all the strings that you
Yeah,
are hooked
yeah.
with.
I have some squeeze. Squeeze is meaning as an error, actually. Because this one is belonging the class, and this one is belonging the class. So I can move it without fixing this problem.
Without cutting that dependency.
Yeah, so because...
Maybe.
I'm too fast.
Yeah. So here we iterate on every seat.
Yeah,
And
to compute the number of seats already reserved.
if the seat is null or empty string,
Absolutely.
we increment that property. Okay.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that,
Maybe we can compute...
we can change the property. Reserve seat, actually, for those that does not...
I remove this one because it's not correct.
Reserve seat is a property in C#. That means it's a method which looks like a member, a classic member. So that means that we can put some logic in it. That's what Bruno will...
So return seat.
So here, what we
Maybe
need...
where, no, not where, count.
For those that are doing Java, it's like the streams, it's link you. It's a declarative, functional-oriented way of querying data structure and data. So Bruno is asking to the list of seats.
Yeah, and
Give me the count, please, giving a predicate of all the seats where booking reference is not equal null or empty. It's a declarative way of doing that in C# instead of iterating for each loops and stuff like that.
so I can remove this one.
So far, you just have a get-only property, so you won't have to set.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second one is the field seats, the collection. I have to change the signature of this one.
So far, we have a method changing the state of the train. It iterates on the JSON to change the state of the train. What Bruno is doing is to extract a function. In that case, the constructor will use a function that will return a list of seats. And that will be the caller, meaning the constructor, to a responsibility to assign to the list of seats the result of that function. So, reason why we move from a void method to a function returning a list of seats.
Exactly. So I don't care.
Next step. Okay, it's a little bit rough and a little bit technical for start, but as you will see, we will be much more comfortable to do much more domain-oriented stuff just after.
Yes, the goal is to remove this code. It's quite complicated at the beginning, but we need to remove. So now if
you have a function.
I have a function, I can retry my test with static. And normally...
Still compiling,
Yeah,
so okay.
I'm correct.
So you can move it.
Yeah. After remove all the dependencies, it's time to move.
Where should we move that?
We return on the web ticket to see that. We understand this one can be the good place to receive the function because we need to return a train and currently return a JSON. That's a bad point.
So this is what we call an adapter type, train data service. It's a proxy toward the external services, making we will see the code in a few seconds, making the HTTP request stuff. So instead of letting it returning the JSON that he has received directly, let's make it returning an instance of train.
It's a static function.
Okay.
So now the resharper replaced with a good call.
So you move the method into the train data service, actually.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if I see the place of the function now, I'm effectively in a good place. And
This is a HTTP kingdom land or stuff like that. As you can see, there are technical stuff everywhere.
And I would like change this one because this is my famous get train returning JSON, and I would like to modify this one.
So let's make it return a train instance instead.
Yeah, change the signature.
So getTrain will now return a task. Alors, task is because it's async code. Since this code is doing some external call, HTTP external call, we need to use that artifact. But you should read it like if the getTrain return a train.
So I call my new function. The problem is it's not enough. I have to return a train.
Yeah.
So I do new train. But new train currently is not correct too, but I have to change. Yeah. Okay. I return to the train. The train return have a sit as a parameter.
So here, the train domain type. Domain is a big word here. As you can see, it's a data structure, it's a data class, no behavior at all. But at least we get rid of the JSON technical stuff. We started the journey to improve the domain code to be more fulfilled with the, more aligned with the domain.
Yeah.
So
now I can take this one to put this one, and I remove this one.
Okay. So here should be better.
No?
No, you missed a semi.
Yeah, I remove a
curly
brass.
curly brace,
Okay.
No,
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Okay. So far, what we just achieved is to move some technical stuff into a proper location, the adapter, the type making the HTTP request. Yes, since Bruno changed the contract of this external adapter, the test helper has to be fixed also. So that's what Bruno is currently doing right now. Since the getTrain method of the train data service has changed, when we fake it, we need to return the same kind of data.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
And I think we have done.
Yeah, but I
Substitute for is like Bach.
sorry.
Substitute for is like Bach. Yes, it is. It's another Bach framework.
Yeah, it's and substitute is you can create stub, mocks, fakes. You can create tons of various.
Yes, there is plenty framework in .NET, but also in Java, Mockito, for example.
Okay,
So
we get rid of the technical JSON. I'm feeling better a little bit,
yeah, we switch.
but there's still something that's I don't really like. There is
Why this I? Like say index, there is another one I. Why we need both of them? Inside the for loop.
here.
Inside the for loop, yeah.
No, I don't know why. Yeah, we can get rid of that, but we will do it just after. There is something that really bothers me, that we couldn't find the concept of reservation attempt. We couldn't find the concept of coach. If we look at the train, despite our effort, train is kind of dumb class. It's a data structure, except that link queue statement here.
There's no behavior.
No behavior. If I look at the seat type, wow.
You can remove
can get
this
rid
one.
of that, but no, this is what we call anemic domain. It's something that, okay, it may embrace the part of the domain of language, but without providing any kind of behaviors. So here,
A question.
Yeah, not sure if you're gonna get there, but in both objects I still see set. I dislike the word set in a domain object. So I'm not sure if you can.
Yeah.
seat number?
No, booking reference.
Ah, okay.
Booking reference is used when we assign the booking reference. We need a set.
We need a set, but we will change it. We will refactor it. It will be improved.
Yeah. Okay. No problem.
Yeah, no.
Are you planning to introduce like a type to that seat class?
Yeah, but we will do that.
Absolutely. But
we'll show that.
the goal is to show how to move on safely to obtain a good design.
Actually, we will use a technique a lot. So let's focus 1 second on that. We will have kind of two classes. Class A, maybe the web ticket manager, the big method reserve, for instance. And let's say we want to move some behavior from it to the train. For that, we will do extra code. We will pick some code into the web ticket manager reserve method, package it into a method. First move will be extract method. Method will still belongs to the web ticket manager, right? And then we will pick the proper location to move it, and to move that method into the class B. In that case, maybe the train, maybe the reservation item, etc. Okay? It will be an easy move, but we will do it a lot. So we thought it was important to highlight it, to keep it in mind. So here, what I have a big test. The one that we have seen before. Maybe it's time to introduce a method with a proper name. So I will try to replace that by does not exceed overall train capacity.
Yeah, for example. It's actually the first business rule introduced.
So here I extract a method, first step. As you can see, this is a method accepting a train as a parameter. So instead of doing that, second move is to move the method. So I will use ReSharper to do so. And it's suggesting me that you can move it to the train since you are providing a train instance. Let's do that. So now I ask the train if that request does not exceed the overall train capacity.
Good.
Okay? Let's continue that.
Was the rule on the train or the coach?
It's basically, the domain expert said that it's for the train.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, reason why sorry?
Then that test was okay. It wasn't overbooked as a train. It was just overbooked as a
So far, we didn't violate that rule. The system is working quite well. This rule is enforced by our system. And the test showed us that it was working well. The third test was the test highlighting the fact that we may have 2 seats in 2 different coaches. You see?
Okay.
So since we don't have yet the concept of coach, that's quite normal. But the test was helpful for us to highlight and to spot that. This is the place where we iterate on every seat of the train to find available seats to add them into a list. Let's extract a method. And I let you think about where it should worth to put it. So I will. How can we
find available?
Find available seats. Okay.
Not
no static and public seats. I want to move. Where should I move that?
The train.
The train,
exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely, because I pass the train. So here, let's move that into the train. And now I ask the train, please find me some available seats. And I want 3 or 4 or whatever. And I get a list of available seats. All right. Then I have a test checking that if I found the exact number of seats have been requested.
And we think about a reservation, no?
Actually, when we discussed with the domain expert, he was talking about a reservation attempt. It's the first phase of the process. We need to attempt to find some available seats. And then, if we are happy with that, to commit into the external service.
Yeah.
So let's create maybe a reservation attempt type. And here we may use is fulfilled, since the domain expert was talking about that.
Yeah.
If the reservation attempt is fulfilled, so let's do that. First step, it will be to change the signature of the find available seats. And instead of returning a list of seats, I want to return a reservation attempt. All right? You will see the type does not exist yet. That's true. So let's create it on the fly. Alt-Enter, create type reservation attempt. OK. So I've got my method. I can rename find available
Yeah.
seats. Maybe it's build
Reservation attempt.
reservation attempt. All right. Here I need to return not a list of seats, but I need to return a reservation attempt that will contain a list of seats. So
A new.
reservation attempt, yes, I need to instantiate, so new reservation attempt,
Yeah.
providing the list of seats
Yeah.
will aggregate into the reservation attempt. Let's create the constructor accepting a list of seats. Here, maybe available seats is
It's
much
not
better.
just sit.
I provide seat to a reservation attempt. Okay. And here, maybe instead of having a private field, something that I would not able to access from the external world, from the caller, let's encapsulate it into a getter. I would say in C# it's a property, get only. Let's do that. Okay. So here, if I get back to the usage and the reserve methods, I got not available seats. I can rename the property also,
Yeah,
the variable.
Yeah.
So here I ask the train to build me a reservation attempt, please, for that number of seats, and he returned me an instance of reservation attempt. So far I just break the code because all the code below was handling and manipulating a list of seats. So all I have to do is simply to refer the seats of the reservation attempt instead. Okay, as you can see, F12.seats, 12. Okay, again, I think there is only one more.
Yeah.
Dump seat. I should dump all the seats of the reservation attempt.
Yeah.
So far, so good. It's still green. Okay. In that case, I just created, I introduced a concept of the domain that was not part of the legacy code. Now I can put some behaviors in it. First behavior would be maybe to introduce a isFulfill method. So let's extract a method from that code logic, as you can see, and call it isFulfilled. The name is not used randomly. It's because we talk a lot with the domain expert, and we take some notes, and we understood that it was important for him. So where should I put that? That method, where should I put that? Yeah, absolutely. Just to know if you are still with us. And that's good, thank you. So reservation attempt, I asked to the reservation attempt, are you fulfilled or not?
Yeah.
I don't really like the fact to provide again and again, every time I ask the is fulfilled, the number of seats. This is something that I can provide it while I create the reservation attempt at the very beginning. So let's do that. When I instantiate the reservation attempt, I will introduce also the number of seats have been requested. Alt-enter, I had the parameter on the constructor. Okay, here I can introduce a read-only field that will be used internally. I don't need to expose that initial request into the reservation attempt. But since I've memorized, I keep a trace on that value, I can reuse it in the isFulfill method. Instead of using the parameter here, I can use instead the field, the private member, and now I can get rid of the parameter. Save delete, okay. Since I'm in C#, I won't use a method but convert into a property instead. Same name, but without parenthesis. And here, again, expression body, it's a lambda style. Okay. So here, I know, Bruno, that you'd like to clean the...
Yeah.
Okay, so I move that.
Yeah.
All right. If I look at the web ticket manager, here we just introduce a reservation attempt type. We move some behaviors like the isFulfilled on it. Let's continue our journey. Next step is to call the booking reference from the external service.
Yeah.
Nothing to change here. Actually, maybe we can have introduced a value type instead of a simple string. But we have so many stuff to change and to do, we won't handle that right now. Here, we iterate for every seat on the reservation attempt, and for each one of them, we assign the booking reference. What do you suggest?
Well, to start off, you can use a lambda.
We can use a lambda. Yeah, we can use a lambda, or we can extract a method here, like assign booking reference. Sorry.
Yeah, it's correct.
Reference. And to make it public, the method has been created, create method and move method. We will move it into the
Reservation.
Yeah, reservation attempt. You are following Bruno. Thanks. It's good. So we ask the reservation attempt, please assign the booking reference that we just got to all your seats, basically. The cache. Who has cache in its application?
Nobody?
Yeah, cache is not a domain concept here. And in fact, if we look at the usage of that, it's a field, iTrain caching, okay? We instantiate it once, we clear it here, and Crunch is saying that, oh, it takes 3 seconds every time I call the clear method. Okay, why not? Then I save, and then that's it. So it's a cache where we only save stuff, and we never access it. It's a kind of strange cache, I would say. Simply, maybe it's here only to add lag here, and maybe to take some time to do. Now, let's delete that cache.
Yeah. Another point, Thomas. In our business, we are receiving a request, and we return immediately an answer. No need a cache.
Yeah. Actually, it's maybe more biased like that. We are a startup. We ask the National Train Operator Service to get some topologies. We are not alone to ask topologies to that big, massive company. So if we get a topology and we cache it, and in the meantime, in parallel, there is another company changing the topology of the train by reserving seats, because we are not alone, the cache is even useless, I would say. So in that case, it's even dangerous, I would say, to keep a cache. So let's get rid of that. I'd like every time I remove some useless cache. So it's and
Why do you need to assign a booking reference to every available seat? Can it be done later when you have actually?
actually, the train data service book seat is expecting to be requested with a list of seats, and for every one of them, the booking reference we want. So instead of allowing us to provide the booking reference and the list of seats we want for the transaction to be happening, it's kind of strange web API, and we need for every seat to get the list of the booking reference, even if they are all same for all the seats.
Once you have decided the seat you choose, then you can assign it to the booking reference of those, right?
Sorry,
Can you repeat?
I was saying once you have the seats that you would be returning as the reserved seats, you could assign the booking reference to just those seats.
I'm not sure if I understood well your question, but actually, when we want to book, we need to we don't provide the booking reference to the request. We provide the seat, the tuple, seat, and booking reference for every one of them. This is why we decided to in fact, if we look at the seat type that was existing, that we didn't introduce, reason why they have put the booking reference here.
Right, but can you hear her? Or you just
Yeah, I think her question was like, when you're booking
Yeah.
the reservation, then you're getting that booking reference number. Why you need to assign before the request itself? When the booking is done.
it's not
Okay.
valid yet.
Yeah, not yet. Not because we receive a topology. And inside the topology, there is no booking reference. And the service, the external service, imposes us to assign, not to book, but to provide information for booking each seat with the reference.
I got that.
Yeah, you got that. Okay. So the assign is just to be compatible with the constraints with the external services. We,
Yeah, she's saying we can do it later. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Then I think we have a 2 screen and a half high method. Now we end up with 1 screen high method. We get rid of some technical stuff and we introduce new ones like reservation attempt. We still have to introduce a concept of coach.
yeah.
You want maybe do you want to make it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So before being able to fix the bug, we will need to introduce the concept of coach. To do so, what will be your first action? How can we introduce the concept of coach?
So you have to go to the train domain object and then probably there you have to introduce.
Sorry, did you get? We have to introduce the concept.
Like you have to modify the train object, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is part of
Yeah, you're right, but
Yeah.
the question is
Is
how to do that
how to start?
safely.
create a
Create a new class, but we will assign the number of seats for each coach, number of seats it's supposed to have.
Okay, we're very sorry because there is some noise.
It's difficult.
and
There is no
it's
mic. It's difficult to
So
turn.
we will assume that if you still have a question after that, raise your hand. And sorry, we can't hear you very well. Actually, we will start with a test. Yeah, right. We will start with a test. So let's add some first unit test for the train.
Yeah.
So train should. There's kind of wind or air climatized or something like that, so we can't hear you very well, sorry. So Bruno is maybe a train should expose coaches.
Guys, we have a microphone, just raise your hand.
Okay.
Or scream. So a train should expose coaches, so
Yeah.
we'll have to instantiate a train. So TDD, for those that are not very aware of that, we write tests before we write code. So it will be red, green, refactor. Red, we write a failing test, highlighting that the behavior we expected does not work or does not exist. Then we make it green as fast as possible. So we fix the code very soon. And just the third step is the refactor. And once we have something that is working, that brings value, we can now refactor, improve what we had maybe missed during the first implementation, first quick implementation. So here we are in this red step. Bruno is writing a failing test.
During the test, we create some topology with a specific topology. This one has 2 coaches with 10 seats. Some are already reserved and some are available.
So it's 2 coaches of 10 seats with 9 already available.
So I will write more assertion.
Yeah, you have to. It will
Yeah.
be probably a kind of dictionary.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
coach A, coach B.
Okay, we suppose, and we know it's a
And seats with a S.
yes,
And as size 10.
10, I suppose.
So first check is to assert that that train will expose 2 coaches, and first coach will expose 10 seats, and the other will expose 10 seats.
So I have to.
So far it's red because the code does not exist, so Bruno will create it on the fly.
So we create a dictionary or hash map in Java to retrieve by name a coach.
Okay, let's do it.
Coach does not exist right now.
Beware, there's a semicolon.
Yeah, I see. So
Coach does not exist, you will create the type coach on the fly.
yeah.
So, okay.
Oops. Come back to the train. I will create
Instantiate a new
coach.
so
Okay.
instantiate a dictionary. So basically we are introducing every chain will have a dictionary of coaches. And during the constructor of the train, we will set the proper value for every coach in the train.
So,
So for each seat,
yes. So, for each seat.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
see if the seat
If
is the coach.
the
Sorry,
coach
does not have key.
does not, I have to.
So if we don't yet, within the dictionary of coaches of the train, if we don't yet have an entry for that name,
Yeah.
of that coach name,
have
let's add a new
one.
coach.
Yeah. It's a seat coach name,
So let's add a new entry into the dictionary for that
Yeah,
coach and instantiate
coach.
a new coach.
but I have to name the
Okay.
to name it. So
A coach will have name.
yeah, I have to create one. Okay. The coach name is better. Okay. Can remove this one. Can generate.
Remember the name of the coach.
Okay.
And while we are here, you had introduced a new entry into the dictionary for that coach,
Yeah,
and then
that's-
you have to add the seat to that coach. So let's
Let's name it and add a function.
let's create a method add seat
That's it.
on that brand new coach type and
Yeah.
providing seats. Okay,
Okay.
let's.
Okay. So remove this one.
You can imagine to have a list of seats for every coach.
Yeah. So add a fill. Sit.
Now you don't need.
I don't need a fill. I need a collection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you're right. I had more seat.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So
same thing on the fly. You can.
yeah,
create a-
absolutely. I will do that. I simulate a collection. Okay. And I
Okay.
introduce the field to be a list of.
So a coach will have a list of seats,
Yeah.
and a train will have a list of coach.
Oops. New list. Okay. And can set field.
Does it ring a bell somehow for some of you in some of the tactical patterns we have in the DDD book, Blue Book? What would be aggregate? Yeah, I can. Okay.
So I have to.
Sorry.
Just creating coach here in the train constructor.
Yeah.
Actually, there is something that is not very good. We have a multiple list. We have a list of seats
Yeah, you're
for
right.
the train, and we have the same list of seats but if we take the union of every coach. So what we should do, instead of setting the list of seats, which is a duplicate, we make the sum of all seats of all coaches. So in that, no, you have a,
Yeah. Mistake.
in that case, we use link U again to say to the coaches collection, please select many, let's do a map of all seats and reduce it into a list. So in that case, the seat property for the train will take all seats for every coach, instead of storing a duplicate list of seats.
I think we are.
I think it's okay. The test is green.
Yeah.
So maybe what can you refactor?
You can refactor this coach creation here in the constructor. We could have add coach method here on the train.
Oh, instead of providing a list of seats, let's provide a list of coach?
No. To actually create a coach method and then.
To create a method?
Yeah, instead of having it in the constructor there.
Okay.
Except,
Yeah.
except,
Yeah,
does the
exactly.
train exist without coaches? So given your
Not according to the domain expert, but
make sure it's valid.
yeah. Let's focus one second maybe on for those that are not fully aware of what aggregates are. So an aggregate is a collection of objects, whether entity or value types, but treat it as a conceptual whole. All right? So what kind of aggregate do we have here in that code so far? Train, okay? So train is the root of the aggregate, meaning the train aggregates a list of coaches, which every one of them aggregates a list of seats. Question for you, coach, is it an aggregate?
Yes.
Not exactly right now, because aggregates need invariant. To be really an aggregate, you need, okay, to aggregate a bunch of objects and be responsible of it, but to embrace actually a business invariant. And here the invariant is that we, what would be the invariant here, Bruno?
It is business rules, actually.
Yeah, we should not
We should do not exceed
70% of the capacity of the train. So in that case, this is the responsibility of the train to enforce that invariant. So far, we don't have such kind of invariant within every coach. But let's say tomorrow the domain expert is saying, I don't want to have full coaches and empty coaches, so I would like to prevent every coach to be
Balance it out.
yeah, to balance, and I don't want to for every coach to be more than 60% of their own capacity. In that case, the coach will be the same, will be an aggregate supporting that invariant, for instance. Okay?
But if you were actually balancing, they were saying the train should be more than 70% full, but we want to balance the coaches. We don't want full coaches and empty coaches. And that would still fit very much with the train aggregate.
Yeah.
And a coach aggregate would get in the way of that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, I was much more thinking about the invariant of a coach should not exceed 60% of its own capability, its own capacity. In that case, it will be at the coach level. But if you want to balance across the train, you're right. It's on the train. It will be the train responsibility.
Because coaches wouldn't know about each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if you had a 60% on each coach and 70% on the train, and 70% would never know. But if you put it the other way around, it might work.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. So, okay. So we introduced the concept of coach. Let's get back to the code. Now we can fix the bug. Right, Bruno?
I will do.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. How we can do that?
To restore the failing test.
Ah,
because
yes,
we are still,
absolutely. You remember, I put a kind of attribute to say, don't consider this one. I remove this one. Okay. It's time to see. So, just to remember, I show you again. We're asking
Two
for
seats.
2 seats, but the first one is almost full. But returning 10A and 1B. It's not correct.
Yeah, it's not correct because they are providing in 2 different coaches.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's fix that. Now we have a coach place.
Yeah.
We
So the responsibility of build reservation is to returning this list. So
Let's see the implementation.
yeah. So imagine now
So here we are on a train type.
we are in train time, and this loop is considering all the seat. It's not correct. So I restart with this one.
Yeah, for each coach you have to go through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we will iterate on every coach
Yes, absolutely. Coach.
and asking to every coach, please.
Yes, I would like forward exactly the same meaning, full name, build this one. And
So you will delegate to every coach the responsibility to build a reservation attempt.
and I will say I would like to a reservation attempt,
Okay.
and I continue the algorithm to be sure that we understand. It must be fulfilled, or if not, we continue.
Okay. If the coach gave me a fulfilled reservation attempt, I return it.
Yeah.
And
And
Otherwise, I continue to loop.
the code here is exactly the algorithm I need, but for one seat, exactly.
coach.
One coach.
So let's move that
Yeah.
into the brand new method.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is great, but you're not explicitly, I mean, the code does enforce that rule, but somehow that, you know what I mean?
No, sorry.
Well, what you're doing will fulfill the rule, but there's something, it seems, the way you did it, it's not totally explicit to me. There was a bug in that code. They didn't bother cleaning up that part of code yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, this algorithm, the code, the legacy code, comes from with an algorithm based on a list of seats. At the beginning, all the seats for all the threads was compute. In this case, I will only compute for a coach. Exactly.
Yeah. So if you ask the coach to do all the job to one coach, you will have the guarantee that all seats will be provided within the same coach as a side effect. So this is basically what Bruno is doing, moving the behavior of listing the seats, not from the entire train perimeter, but on the coach side.
Yeah. Because I'm green, it's time to refactor, and this expression is quite complicated.
So wait a minute, you fix the bug?
Yeah, I fixed the bug.
Okay, let's give him a round of applause, please.
So
we can refactor.
yeah, I prefer to use link to obtain something.
Can you please leave the previous code to see the difference?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
you comment it maybe if you want, but here we have a for loop, iterating on every coaches and checking whether the
okay, I create a new seat, for example, and I do the.
See before after, it will be easier for you.
Okay.
So here, same thing again. We use LinkQ, which is a declarative functional style way of manipulating data structure, and
I have to find available seat, but available seat is actually quite technical to define. But I will write.
So here you are looking for with a predicate.
Yeah.
Please give me all seats where the booking reference is empty. That means they are available.
Yeah.
And for that, I don't want all the list. I just want the number of seats I've been requesting.
Yeah, I need
to reduce into a list.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. One line here.
Yes.
It's not a one-liner. I mean, it's something that is much more declarative than the procedural code.
I can remove this one and replace by seat, or replace this one by available seat. That's better. Something is not very domain-oriented, this one.
Let's add a method. Is available.
Yes, it's available. It could be better.
That at least are the term of the domain expert. So let's it's private. Let's make it public.
That is.
And then you can. So you extract a method which is still part of the coach, and now let's move it into the seat.
Yeah.
So now we can ask a seat whether or not you are available.
Yeah, can.
More idiomatic C#. Okay.
Yes.
Again. So here.
Yeah.
Okay. You have it's okay for the refactoring side. If we get back to the, so we fix the code, we fix the bug, sorry. We improve the web ticket manager. Maybe we can have a look at that.
I think we have to go back in the train because we still have this one. This one can delete it, and this one is not available. And I would like to notify that there is a failing something, fail, and create a specific type for SAP.
So you introduce a type for reservation attempt fail, which is a little bit better than an empty JSON or.
Absolutely. So
it's where you explicit all the implicits.
Yeah.
Whenever you can. Yeah.
I made a mistake?
Has English as a first.
Failed reservation attempt.
Okay, sorry.
Is it what you're suggesting? Failed reservation attempt?
Okay.
Okay.
No problem. We are French. Julie, it's okay?
Failed. ED.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it failed in the past. Okay.
Okay.
So, okay.
So, you still see everything, or can we have a look at the web ticket manager?
Yes, absolutely.
So
No,
we fixed the bug, and I don't know for you, but the reserve method is much more better. It manipulates concept of the domain. We put some behaviors in and there. We extract method and move it to the proper location, proper types. But there's still something that bothers me. What about you?
what's the problem in this code?
There's too many nesting.
Yes, there's
Yes.
an issue with nesting, okay? But,
Second thing, I don't like string and int as an input argument.
Yeah.
yes, okay, we can extract type as an input, as input arguments, okay? But the return, what about the output?
Have a look of this.
That is pretty bad.
What
The
is this? This one is what?
Yeah, it's JSON.
A JSON. JSON in a domain class.
Yeah, so what I would like to do is to get rid of that JSON and to put it into another place, which will be an adapter. Maybe while Bruno, you are preparing the field, we can have a...
Yeah, to get time, I'm sorry for that. I will continue to refactor the code. I will explain exactly what I do, but it will introduce a new thing, okay?
Who already heard about hexagonal architecture here? Okay, so let's see what it is. Hexagonal architecture is an architecture pattern created by Alistair Cockburn many years from now, and this is not part of the DDD, but I call it a friendly pattern with DDD ecosystem. Why is that? It had many benefits, but let's take 3 for today. First one is to embrace change. Hexagonal architecture is a plugin-oriented pattern. You add plugins, you remove them, you can switch one implementation with another, etc. So it's very useful for that. Second thing, it's the thing I prefer in that pattern is it's helped me to protect my domain code from the technical framework libraries, technologies, and stuff. So here, the web ticket manager has a JSON inside. We don't like that. Let's put that into the proper place, and let's protect our domain. We will do that just after. So to properly split the domain from the technical code. And then it enforces testability because since everything is pluggable, we can stub and fake whatever we want. So it's very useful to enforce testability. For today, we will focus on the protect your domain code. How does it work? Basically, it's pretty much simple. You have the inside and you have the outside. No too many layers, not baklava architecture, stuff like that. It's two main areas, okay? The inside is a domain, and the outside is the infrastructure code. When I say infrastructure code, it's, yes, HTTP, database drivers, message-oriented middleware, whatever it's technical. What's interesting is the hexagonal architecture allows you to put some barbed wires around your domain to protect it and to prevent technical stuff to grow very easily, because we like to mix things as developers. So it's very easy. And also, if you have a team with tons of junior developers that really like, and I'm also a big fan of techniques. I used to do lots of low latency programming and very technical stuff. I like it too, but I like to split and I like to protect my domain. So in that case, infrastructure code will be a kingdom for testing new things, testing new libraries, without jeopardizing the domain. So it's a nice situation for that. So it would be a kind of playground for junior developers. You can play a little bit more on the infrastructure code if you want, but please don't mess with the domain, right? So it's nice separation of concern. How does it work? In terms of dependencies, we have, let's say, 2 modules, 2 packages, 2 assemblies, one for the domain and the other for all the adapters, even if you can split all the adapters in various packages, whatever your need. But the dependency is always towards the inside, meaning that the technical code may refer the domain 1, okay? But the domain 1 should never be aware of technical stack, technical types, technical code, right? So always towards the inside. So you can say that, okay, but how can I get some information, or can I interact from the domain to the external world? In that case, we use the dependency inversion principle, DIP. Actually, Alistair Cockburn was saying to me recently that he doesn't really like that way of putting things. He was saying dependency inversion principle is this kind of negative way of saying things. So you do that, and then you do the inverse. You know what I'm saying? So instead of that, he was suggesting, actually it's not Alistair that has proposed the name, but he was promoting it. It's configurable dependencies. So you will plug configurable dependencies for your domain to be able to access to the outside world. Let's say a repository, if we take an example of what we have in the Blue Book, stuff like that. So if we zoom a little bit here, we have 2 concepts. And actually, the hexagonal architecture name was the first name, and Alistair tried to rename it into port and adapter pattern. But people continue to use the hexagonal architecture form. So let's explain what a port and adapter are. Ports are belonging to the domain. Ports are interfaces. Let's say in C# or Java, a port will be an interface. Here, let's say I reserve seats. On the top left of the picture, the domain in blue will expose that entry point. So the I reserve seats may expose one verb, for instance, the reserve method we have seen so far. And in that case, the hexagon is a web ticket manager. Once Bruno will have moved the JSON away from it, because currently it's still in the middle of something, you know. So ports are interfaces, and whether you want an interface to enter the hexagon or to go out the hexagon, let's say to go out, we have 3 kind of web API that we need to call on the right side for the national train operator service. So the domain code will only refer those interfaces. Those interfaces belong to the domain. That means that it should be domain concept, domain name, ubiquitous language of the, all around the place, and that's it. That are for the ports. The adapters are some kind of gateway, a way to go through the barbed wire, to enter and to leave the hexagon. So here we have 4 adapters. First one in yellow is reservation REST adapter. The responsibility of an adapter is like the Goff pattern adapter, is to translate from one world to another. So basically, an adapter will go here from the infrastructure kingdom, dealing with JSON, HTTP requests, stuff like that, and to translate it into a domain method call, asking the port iReserveSeat.reserve method, for instance. And then once the reserve method of the web ticket manager of the domain will return a reservation, which is part of the domain, the adapter, the yellow adapter, will still have to map back that domain concept into a JSON format, a JSON form. You see? From the infra to the domain, then we get the answer from the domain, and we remap to the infra to have the answer as relevant if we are using a web API, message-oriented middleware, or whatever we are using. Same thing applies on the right side. When we want to leave, the domain code is calling an interface, which is abstract, but at runtime, it will be one of those adapters, concrete adapters, that will do the job. And here, that will translate also one request into HTTP. Basically, the train data service we were increasing with Bruno is one of those ports. So here, I've got a train data service adapter, a booking service adapter, and a booking reference adapter. for every one of those kind of concern from the external world. Is it okay for you so far? We'll see that with code, so maybe it will improve the... So ports and adapters to go in and to go out. We always go through that, and we protect the domain from the technical stuff. Okay, when I read first time the pattern from Alistair, I found it very readable and understandable, and when you start to implement it, you scratch your head and you finish like that, and you are saying, how can I plug those stuff and which order? And this is why I would like to suggest the keyring metaphor. This is a metaphor that I like for that. So it's a 3-step initialization. When you want to initialize, thank you, initialize the whole stuff. First, you have to instantiate the I need to go out adapter, the adapter on the right. So all the trend data service, the booking reference service, you instantiate them first. This is in the bootstrap of your application, the composition rules, the bootstrap, the place where your application starts. Okay? So you instantiate those adapters to go to the outside. Then you instantiate the hexagon. So the hexagon wrap aggregates what it needs to go to the outside world. So those 2 adapters on the right. And once you have done that, you instantiate the I need to enter adapter. The adapter you need to go and to talk to the hexagon. So again, above the hexagon, you will have that. And at the end of the day, so you instantiate it. At the end of the day, all you will keep in your hand will be the entry point adapter, the yellow adapter, this adapter on the left side. Your application, your web API, won't directly talk to the hexagon, to the domain. It will talk through one of the adapters you will have on the left. Okay for everyone? Let's see, to put it differently. First, we instantiate the I need to go out adapters, those right for the national trend service. Then we instantiate the hexagon, which needs those adapters to work at runtime. And then we instantiate the I need to enter adapter. And then all we keep in our hands from an application perspective will be this yellow guy. Okay? Okay, well, let's do it. Bruno.
Yes, I'm still working to obtain...
Yeah, while Bruno is doing...
So using Spark, and I forget, but there was a .NET thing like Spark, where you're distributing the computation, which
Yeah.
could be a domain kind of thing across many machines. How do you keep the infrastructure separate from the domain?
What is your domain in your case? What your domain is about?
What is it about? It's about insurance, reinsurance,
All right?
simulation.
So you have code dealing with that, with those concerns and stuff like that?
Well, at this point, it's a computation. I have losses coming in. I'm transforming them according to rules, and I have losses coming out.
Okay.
That's happening over hundreds of machines.
Okay.
And I'm just writing that one piece of code that the infrastructure is distributing, and then you collect at the end. It's sort of like, Hadoop and all that, but
Okay.
it's memory.
Okay.
So how do I keep the infrastructure away from the domain in that case? Because it's more intrusive, right?
Yes, but I don't know. Maybe we can take some time after to dig a little bit more about that. But what you can do is to all your code, which is making the computation, which is manipulating domain concept and enforcing business rules and whatever, you can protect it, maybe, and to go all the technical API. Stuff like that through ports and adapters. But maybe in your context, maybe hexagonal architecture won't help you a lot if you are completely... if you are fully distributed, let's say an actor model based or stuff like that, you won't need to, maybe you won't need to have a hexagonal architecture everywhere.
I mean, the code looks like I
Okay.
The actual distribution and collection
Okay.
is very much like the link stuff, which is kind of, it's working on data structures, not on domain.
Okay. I suggest, because we are running out of time soon, maybe we can talk a little bit just after?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So during the explanation of hexagonal architecture, I create some new type like reservation and not reservation attempt. There is a new function called confirm to obtain a reservation. And we return now not a string, but a reservation, as we have no more JSON in this function.
So instead of returning a reservation attempt, from the moment you book the seat and you don't have exception and everything go well, you confirm it somehow and turning the reservation attempt instance into a reservation type.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go how it's a reservation is. Okay, is a data structure.
A
actually.
kind of value type.
Okay. Without behavior.
Without
And this is what we return. So now the web ticket manager is returning not a JSON, but so it's be part of the domain, right? Okay, let's in Visual Studio it's kind of complicated to create new projects. So let's create directories instead. So in the Tran project, I will introduce some two directories.
Two folders.
Folders, domain and infra. Stay, infrastructure. Let's put every type into dedicated files to make it to see all of them. And let's put them into the proper location. What about booking reference service? Domain or infra? Infra. It's an adapter. Coach. Domain, okay. Failed reservation. Domain, absolutely. What do we have? A failed reservation attempt. Domain. Booking reference service. Yeah, it's part of the domain. It's a port, actually, in the hexagonal architecture sense. train caching. What the? Okay, let's get rid of that. train data service. Domain, it's a port. Okay. Reservation. Domain. Reservation attempt, still the domain. Yeah. Seats. Okay. Domain. Let's seat JSON Poco. There's a hint. Infrastructure. Seat reservation adapter. Adapter. Infrastructure. Threshold manager. This one.
It's domain actually.
Domain. Pretty dumb, but so far. But okay. Train. Domain. Train
caching.
Train data service. Yeah, train data service, we need it, but it's an adapter actually. It's the one that goes through the train data service.
Yes.
And web ticket manager.
It's
the app. It's the entry point of the domain actually.
Yeah.
It's what we call the hexagon.
Yeah,
so
the name is not good because it's a web ticket manager, but we move a lot of infrastructure from there. It becomes a domain.
We will change it because actually it's pretty dumb. It's not a domain. Okay, let's improve that. Okay, let's introduce hexagonal architecture. We split. We used to split in two different modules so that you won't have some technical stuff introduced by within the domain. But as you can see, it's a little bit in terms of number of types. We have more types from the domain than in infrastructure, which is pleasant stuff. Let's take the test. Okay, let's introduce the hexagonal architecture from the test. We said that the tests are acceptance tests here. So step one. Step one is to instantiate the I want to go out adapter. So there are two adapters here. I can rename them train data service adapter. All right, and here also it's a booking reference service adapter. Right? Then step two, we say it's to instantiate the hexagon. Here the hexagon is a web ticket manager. We will change the name. But let's say I reserve seats. The hexagon exposes a port. So let's create that. I reserve seats. Rename that into the hexagon here, just for the conference. In real application, maybe you can put hexagon. So a new developer will join and say, "What the hell is an hexagon, please?" And it will be a starting point for a discussion within the team and things like that. Okay, let's create the I reserve seats type from the web ticket manager. Here I will take the concrete type and extract an interface. Okay, I reserve seats. All right, and maybe I can move
the verb reserve.
Yeah, let's make it like that. Let's be part of the
No async.
Yeah, no async. Let's be part. So the I reserve seats port, which is yellow port, has only one verb, which is reserve. Okay, let's move it into a dedicated type. Move to folder. Let's say train. Yeah, domain is quite accurate. So let's do that. So now the web ticket manager is exposing the port I reserve seats. So once I've done that, instead of letting my application calling directly the hexagon, I need to instantiate I need to go in, I need to enter adapter. In that case, I will use it. It's a seat reservation adapter.
Yeah.
Say. New seat reservation adapter. So Bruno has just created it, actually. We'll see that in a second. So I provided the hexagon. As you can see, it's like a Russian doll. You instantiate first, they want to go out, then you wrap them into the hexagon, and then you wrap the hexagon into the entry point for your application. Let's create a constructor in that seat reservation adapter. Because so far, Bruno, what it just did while I was talking about hexagonal architecture was to move all the JSON adaptation from the web ticket manager to that place. So only static method so far. Here, I just introduced an hexagon member, private member. So, okay, I've got my adapter to be used by the application. How should I use it? Maybe it's time to go back to the web API, the reservation controller, and to, instead of using a web ticket manager here, what I would like to do is to use the seat reservation adapter here. And maybe I've got a post here with the DTO. What I can do is to move the DTO and to make it into the infrastructure code. First thing first, sorry. I will move to folder train, because DTO belongs to the web API. What I would like to do is to move it into the train infrastructure, so that the rest of my infrastructure code will be able to use it. Okay, so let's get back here. What I can imagine here is to instantiate a new DTO within my test. Reservation request DTO, okay. So instantiate a DTO is pretty much a dumb data structure with two information: number of seats, okay. Let's take that I already have, and the train ID. So train ID, and for the DTO, I will use the one from the test. Okay, so I instantiate a DTO, which is a reservation request DTO. And from the application perspective, what I will do is to ask the adapter, please, I don't have time to find a fancy name, so we will reuse the same post name as an entry point. We should do better, I think. And then what we will do is to create something which will be a string.
Yeah.
It will be a JSON.
JSON, yeah.
JSON answer. Here I'm in the middle of the acceptance test, so I will fake everything but the black box. So I'm creating the post method within the entry point adapter. Okay, so I need a DTO, and here it's a typical adapter code. It's every time my application will call the post method on the entry point adapter, I will need to do three things. First is to adapt from infra to domain, then to call the business logic, and then to adapt back the domain to the infrastructure. Okay? So here, the first adaptation is quite lame because let me introduce variable and explain why, what after, number of seats, and also reservation request, TTO, train ID. Okay. This is the information as I received them from the web API, actually. Okay? In real applications, this is where you will translate from a JSON to a data structure. But since ASP.NET is already doing the job for me, it's already pre-fetch data, I would say. So nothing to do in the first adaptation. Then what I should do, I'm within the yellow port, I should call the hexagon I just received in the construction and call the reserve method. This is the entry point of the domain. I'm calling the hexagon and with the number of seats. As you can see, the adaptation is kind of straightforward. And what I get is, thanks to Bruno's effort, is to get a reservation.
Yeah.
It's not a JSON, it's a reservation. All right? I think it's should be async here.
Task.
And task of string, sorry. We are on the infrastructure side. There are some technical stuff to do to make it work well. Okay.
Import.
Okay. And then the reserve method is async too, so I will call await.
Yeah.
Once I get a reservation, what I can do is to adapt from the domain, so the reservation context, to the infrastructure and to return.
Adapt.
Alors, Bruno, we won't return the reservation, we will return the JSON.
Yeah.
So Bruno has made a static method for that, accepting a reservation and returning a JSON. So let's call it. So in that case, I just implemented the yellow side adapter, accepting pretty much like JSON stuff, calling the business logic, and returning a JSON. Okay? We see that. Let's plug it. Okay? Let's plug it into the web application. To do so, I should do the same thing as I did into the test. Oh, sorry, the test I didn't.
Yeah, because you have to remove the previous.
It's async, so I need to call result here. And I got a JSON answer. Okay, and I will check, I will assert on the JSON answer.
Yeah. You have to remove the adaptation, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Bruno. So I will check on the. So here, within the acceptance test, I'm using all the adapters. Actually, I'm using the only action I do is through the yellow side adapter. Okay, let's plug it into the web API and we will be finished. Reservation controller.
Keep that still as a JSON answer, like that variable name.
Sorry, Bruno, you have to answer that question if you want to finish.
Yes. You're talking about what?
Like basically the JSON answer, that was a variable name that was here. Why you want to keep it like the name like JSON and then answer?
Yeah, we are in an acceptance test, and to be clear, it's not a reservation. We put names JSON.
Booking reference service. Sorry, it's got it pretty fast, but I need to get the URI of those stuff. So should be done through the configuration of your application, but here it will be hard-coded there. And so here I'm instantiating the hexagon within the startup of my application.
I will talk. Now we are in the real application, and we don't use the fake object. We have the real service.
All right, and now I've got the hexagon, and now, okay, and there is a IOC container in ASP.NET application, so let's add a singleton instance of the type of the adapter. as we said, only the yellow adapter is used by the application.
Yeah.
So I register
Yes.
IOC register here, so that I can now
We do
retrieve it into the controller.
We do it the instance once, and we reuse it in the controller.
Instantiate a constructor, asking the adapter.
Yeah.
Adapter. Okay. Oh, sorry. Introduce read-only.
Yeah.
Pretty much almost finished with that. So here,
Remove.
well, every time I get a post request, let's post it, reservation request, and return, no, away. And here return await of the result of that.
Yeah.
Can remove all the stuff. So from an application perspective, all I have
Compile
is
one time.
to call, as to, I will run it. All I have is to, my application only, oh, sorry. Okay. Useless constructor, I can get rid of it. And
And
let's
maybe you can rename this one.
after.
Yeah.
You have shortening times. So I run it. What I would like to do is to do the same thing as we did earlier.
Yeah.
Putting some breakpoints here in my adapter stuff.
Perfect.
Call a postman request.
Yeah.
Okay, it's blinking, so it means that breakpoint is set.
5.
F5. Okay, as you can see
Yeah,
here,
you can zoom.
it's control.
Alt.
Okay.
Alt.
Whoa.
Wow, qu'est-ce que t'as fait?
I've made a huge mistake.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. In a.
Okay.
So the answer is 9A to 12A. Maybe you can change and ask 20 seats.
Yeah.
Or 25 seats or something like that. Hoping that we will be send.
I send.
That we will find seats in the
because
same coach.
It's still
Otherwise,
the breakpoint.
that means that
Okay.
we will fail. Okay, we've got all the 25 seats into the coach A. Okay, it's working.
Yeah, it works.
Okay. Maybe it's time to wrap up because I think we have 1 minute left or 2 minutes left. Okay, let's just wrap up. Okay, we start from a situation like that with a procedural code everywhere, and at the end of the day, we led to something much more like that. What we have made, basically, is to discuss a lot with the domain expert before we arrived in Denver, and trying to put the language of the domain and the concept of the domain into the code. So here we can see in yellow, concept of reservation attempt, it's fulfilled, etc., etc. So we started with really a lame procedural code, and we try to muscle our domain to that. First things first.
Yes, we try to have some push line to finish. Talk to your domain expert. I do a lot of sessions of refactoring in a big company. Every time we use a lot of business experts to help developers to rename, to have the good word. It's mandatory.
Do event storming, talk to each other, see you every time you can. It's the starting point. After, don't be duped by legacy code. With a very few techniques of refactoring techniques, you can improve situation.
Yeah.
Okay, we can have improved a lot of things like value types, closure of operation in a technical from a technical point of view, but the fact that I have code with a domain language in it, it's a really nice starting point, I would say. And
apply extract and move. Extract and move is not really a pattern. If you use these books is actually really the basics about refactoring. It describes exactly how compose move to obtain a good situation. We don't talk about that, but we use a lot a code smell called feature envy. Feature envy, when you have a snippet of code, it must be in another classes, and it's described with some move like this one.
Putting differently, bread and butter for your code smell, putting some names into code smell is important before being able to
Yes, it's a
refactor.
vocabulary, actually.
Well, we have to thank you for your time and your patience. Because,
Yeah, thank you too much. As we French, we say merci.
Yeah, we say merci.
And we would like to, thank you. We'd like to,
Who are the winners, please, Alex?
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. It was not a very hard work, to be honest. And I think our first winner is Julia Lerman. 5 tweets.
I suppose, Julie, I suppose,
You have to.
oh,
Okay.
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 Which one do you want? The
Refactoring.
refactoring, okay. Thank you,
And-
thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
And the second one is Thomas Betts with 4 tweets.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Congratulations,
Oh.
Thomas.
And also thank you very much other guys who participated. It's like Mike and yeah, Kenny. Unfortunately, guys, you have to be more active next time. I think it's definitely a good idea.
Next year in Denver.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bruno.
you.
Thank you very much to all of you. And if you have some question, maybe you can discuss outside the room.
You have some secrets how we build this session. It's a lot of work, but we can explain if we want to do the same. It will be a pleasure to explain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thomas. Thank you, Thomas.